And he pointed out on the Vanilla Fudge album where I actually did it one time. And he took it to the extreme.
The audience just didn't know what to believe, what they were seeing and hearing. It was different than what they'd ever heard before, and it was powerful. It was just non-stop. But the thing was that they were so powerful that anyone who came after them, they might as well have not gone on the stage.
Without a doubt. They were the first band to blow us off the stage. Led Zeppelin.
The band would come in and do what was called underground, you know, those clubs and everything.
They played the Whiskey. It was an amazing show. It was like ridiculous. Can you imagine that band in that small club? It holds like 300 people. It was chaos.
They went wild, hands up, jumping up and down. It's just a great show, great music.
They played a place called the Boston Tea Party. The Boston Tea Party was Boston's version of the Fillmore. So maybe 200 people, maybe 250 tops that first night. And they blew us all away. So I went back on the air the next day and just said, you've got to go see this band.
When they started breaking, I mean, they couldn't believe it. They started out as really just four musicians who, you know, got together. And then when they started breaking, I mean, it was just, you know, amazing.
By the time they'd finished and ended up in New York, they'd taken the whole country by storm. I mean, there wasn't a band that wanted to play before them. I mean, they set the precedent for what they did a few years later was not to play with anyone and just do the 2 to 2.5 to 3 hour sets.
Energized by the overwhelming success of their inaugural tour of the States, Led Zeppelin returned to England, but the British media ignored them. It was a bitter pill to swallow. And after a month and a half, the band returned to America. Once again in front of adoring, appreciative crowds, Led Zeppelin felt right at home.
The second tour was the summer of '69, and by then I had gotten John his drum set, which is exactly like mine. It was a 226 bass drums with a big tom in the middle, 2 floors, and a big snare drum with a gong.
A lot of drummers have all these props, but don't use them. You know, they might hit it once a song. He used everything.
We played the same places, roughly, like the Fillmores and the Boston Tea Party. And when they went on the stage the second time, you could see that they were anticipating, the audience was anticipating their arrival and the performance. And then it just went up from there.
While on tour, whatever downtime the group could find was spent working on their second album in recording studios.
Atlantic Records would do it for us. Book a studio, the band would go in, do a bit more, come out with the tapes, go on to another city, play another show, go in late that night or that afternoon. And that's how they made the record.
As Zeppelin's popularity grew, so did their bank accounts. They were offered $250,000 to play the Yale Bowl in New Haven, Connecticut. But the group turned it down so that they could perform instead at the Bath Festival of Blues and Progressive Music back in England.
The first real major acceptance came over here. I think that tends to piss the English critics off. Anything that gets discovered in America, English critics have a problem with.
The prestige of playing at the festival in their homeland gave them something that money couldn't buy: respect and acceptance. Led Zeppelin was fast becoming the #1 rock and roll band in the world.
In our position, we've spent years and years on the road, sort of playing in little church halls and being beaten up and bricks thrown through the van windows and everything. And to have money at last is just another figure in my mind of mass acceptance, which is what we all work for.
When Led Zeppelin II was finally finished, the album was released stateside on October 22, 1969, and was an instant hit with timeless classics like Whole Lotta Love and Heartbreaker. It didn't take long for Led Zeppelin II to knock the Beatles' Abbey Road off the top of the charts. At 5 minutes, 33 seconds, the album's centerpiece, Whole Lotta Love, was deemed too long for AM radio airplay. So Atlantic released an edited version as a single. The band wasn't happy.
They didn't like releasing singles, but I think it may have been because they wanted to, originally one of the things was they wanted to show the whole product of the album.
Then Bonham's big role, da, you know, ba da ba da ba da ba 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 ba, and then Page with the lead, da 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 da, and then come out of it perfectly. What a song!
The band members were garnering a lot of attention, not only for their music, but also for the way they dressed on stage, especially Jimmy.
Well, he wore velvets, though, and satins and silks and embroidered things and beaded things, and, you know, it was a feminine thing, a lot of chiffon, patent leather shoes, things like that, you know. These guys were androgynous. It feels safe in a way. You know, you feel like you're almost connecting with another part of yourself. That was a very interesting draw for young women, too.
I think Jimmy Page really invented that image of the almighty rock guitar player.
The cloud of mystique that shadowed the band grew with the news of Jimmy Page's interest in Aleister Crowley, an early 20th century Englishman aligned with black magic and demonology. Page's fascination with Crowley led many to believe he was into black magic himself.
I think he was absolutely fascinated with the man and the knowledge of the will. I don't think, I mean, you know, he owned a lot of manuscripts, and he bought the Inverness Castle. That was also Crowley's. And I think with it, he had purchased a lot of manuscripts. And at one point, he had a bookstore in English, an occult bookstore. And he was really more fascinated by the knowledge of it.
It was a sincere fascination, and I think he took a lot out of it, and I think it came through in his music, a lot of that amazing depth and, you know, mystery and all that came out in his music. He was very interested in those types of things, otherworldly things. You know, all that selling the soul to the devil, so that's just bullshit. None of that took place. None of it.
I mean, the whole myth about selling their soul to the devil, we want you to cut your hand in blood, we want you to make a pact, you're going to be a wreck. Oh, fuck off, put the fucking devil in your shit, get out of here, you know, I mean, he just wouldn't, what the hell are you talking about? I mean, it just wouldn't happen.
Despite the truckloads of money that were now pouring in, whenever Led Zeppelin was in Los Angeles, they chose to stay at the relatively luxury-free Continental Hyatt House on the Sunset Strip.
We, of course, could have stayed anywhere with the money that we had, but we just preferred that hotel.
They always used to rent the whole top of the Hyatt House. For one thing, the swimming pool was on the top, on the roof, you know, so they could always go up to the swimming pool and do their thing. But as the lift door opened, and I looked out, the carpet had about foam about that deep. As I looked out, this naked girl came sliding past on her belly, and then another one, and then followed by John Paul Jones and John Bonham.
When our own crew was in town, and the Choco crew, we obviously had all what rooms we wanted on the Sunset side. The rear side we gave to the road crew. We went into the road crew's rooms, took their televisions out and threw them out of the windows on the other side, so that when the people came running upstairs, they'd look and see the television still there. They didn't comprehend that we'd taken them off the other side and thrown them out that window.
Every single floor was a party. Everywhere you looked, there were people hanging out. Everybody called it the Riot House, the Hyatt House, because it was a party house.
The manager's there, and Peter and I are standing there, and I've got the cash, and we're going through the bill, and the guy's doing the bill, and he says, this and that, and you know, you had these rooms, and you threw that out the window and that, and we said, oh, you know what, we fucking know what we've done, just give us the bill, how much do you want? Fine, got out the money. And the guy looked, and we said, well, we're fucking paid you, what's wrong with you? He said, it's not that. He said, don't you know what, I can't imagine what it must be like for you guys. He said, I work in this fucking hotel. I'd love to smash a room up. So Peter said, oh, is that all it is? Well, go and take one of the rooms and go and smash it up. We're leaving in 15 minutes and bring me the bill.
It was rock and roll. It was all about the decadence. How could you not like having limos and jets and women and, you know, the Beatles hanging out with you every night and Stevie Wonder and this and that, you know, and the champagne, and it was fun.
Yeah, I think they sort of pretty much, you know, set the